it's Angela Lin, creator of Happy Abundant Freedom. In this video, I want to share with you why you should learn information that you're going to immediately use and how you can actually succeed with all of that self-help or other learning trainings that you purchased instead of just having them turn into what we call shelf-help or books, DVDs, online courses that you just bought and maybe you've gone through them, but you haven't gotten any results from them. So one of the things that I found interesting was that while growing up, our parents would often tell us, you know what, go to school, study hard, and get good grades. So what does study hard mean? Well, studying hard often means you should study well in advance. You have to study hard. So I would listen to my parents, and I would start studying for exams 2 weeks or a week ahead of the exam. And so I would study 2 weeks ahead, or maybe the week before, and I would still continue to study leading up to the day of the exam. What I found interesting, though, was that even though I studied perhaps 2 weeks before, or perhaps just last week if the exam was this week, well, when it came to this week, I pretty much had to still review, 70 to 80% of that content, even though I had already studied 2 weeks or last week. Why is this the case? Well, it's because I wasn't actually able to put that knowledge that I learned 2 weeks ago or last week into use because my exam was this week. So it wasn't available for immediate use, and that's why my brain forgot about it. In fact, your brain, if it's something that is not going to be extremely relevant or timely, then it will likely forget it because there's other things that's more relevant that you can immediately put to use right away. Your brain's going to remember that instead. So one time I was really short on time, and so I couldn't really study that much in advance, and I only studied 2 to 3 days prior to the exam. What was surprising to me was that I still was able to get good grades, but I studied way less. 2 to 3 days of studying as opposed to 2 weeks or a week in advance. And so I thought, maybe this was just one time. I got really lucky. And so I wanted to test it out. And so I started doing that again for my next couple of exams, where I studied 2 to 3 days in advance instead of the full 2 weeks. And what was surprising to me was that I still was able to get good grades, but I studied way less. So that meant I had a lot more time to do the things that I actually wanted to do as opposed to studying. So I've been sharing that with other students around the world through my YouTube channel, High Marks, which is now over 143,000 views on YouTube to help students with study skills. And what really matters is that I think a lot of times we have this idea where we should work hard to get the results that we want. And yes, we should work hard, but you have to work smart as well. So this is one of the ways where you can work smart. So let me ask you a question. If you were to see a video yesterday, and I were to ask you to describe that video to me in detail, do you think it'd be easier to describe that video to me, even though you've only seen it once yesterday? Would that be easier than compared to if you were to watch that exact same video, but you watched it 2 weeks ago, and then you watched it again last week? So you watched it twice, but you watched it 2 weeks ago and last week. Which one would be easier to describe to me in detail? Chances are, probably if you saw it just once yesterday. And the reason is because it's still fresh in your mind. So you can still implement that knowledge and use it in your life. So a lot of times we get out of school, we still want to improve in various areas. And perhaps it's self-help, perhaps it's other aspects of your life. So we continue to buy training to improve ourselves. And in fact, the self-help industry, it's an $11 billion industry. Every year, tons of people spend $11 billion on self-help. Now the thing is, you would think that if people are buying so much self-help courses, training, that there would be a lot of successful people in this world. But the reality is, there isn't. And why is that? Well, it's because they continue to buy various self-help, and they learn from it, but they might not actually implement what is being taught in that self-help training. And then they go on to something else because this new thing came out. And so they go through that new training, and before they implement much of the strategies taught in there, this other training came out. And so they jump from training to training while spending all of that time learning but not implementing. And I'm a strong believer in results. So if you're learning all of these things and you're not implementing, you won't get results. If you're not going to take action, you're not going to get results. And I personally experienced that, where when in online marketing, there's a ton of information that comes out every day. There's new training courses, tens, hundreds of training courses that pop up each day telling you what's the next best strategy in online marketing. And so I had this thing where it's like shiny new object syndrome. I'm like, oh, there's this training, awesome. I'm going to go through it, learn it, going to implement it. And so I go through the training, spend all of that time learning that information, and then I'm like, all right, I'm going to implement. But oh, wait, this new other training course that came out, this is the most recently released one, so this one must be better than this one. And so I won't really implement much of the strategies in this one, and I'll immediately go and start learning all the information in this one. And then, by the time I was done with this, I see another new training. And so this is a pretty bad cycle where I spent thousands of dollars on training that I took the time, took the effort to learn everything, but I didn't actually implement. And so by the time I actually got through everything, I forgot what I learned in the different trainings of what strategies I should implement. So I would think, oh yeah, this training course taught me something about this area. And okay, you know what, maybe I'll go back through it to see what I should implement. But by the time I go back through it, I would have to sort of go through most of the training again just to see what I should implement. So that's double the time of what you originally would have taken to actually go and implement things. So the key is to really focus on learning that one thing first. Okay, go through that training, finish learning it, and actually implement the strategies from it. Before you buy anything else, before you get distracted with anything else in life, go through that training, learn it, and implement it while it's still fresh in your mind. Because when it's fresh in your mind, you are able to put, with the best effort and the least amount of time so that it's easier, something to actually help you succeed with the results that you wanted when you originally bought this training. So that's what I would challenge you to do. Focus on one training at a time, go through it, and then implement it. And what I want you to do today is ask yourself, if something new comes into your life that you want to learn about, ask yourself, is this something that after learning it, I'm going to immediately put into use the strategies that are taught in this training? And if the answer is yes, then go learn it and then implement the strategies. If the answer is no, but it might be something that will be beneficial for you in the future, then write it down on your to-do list. And then later on, once you get through whatever training that you're going through right now to implement, then you can go back to this to-do list. And then you can concentrate and focus on going through that training and then implementing the strategies from that training. So I want you to think of perhaps a friend or family member that you know who has tons of training. Perhaps it's self-help, perhaps it's different areas in their lives. But the thing is, they have all of these trainings like books, DVDs, courses, etc. But they don't actually seem like they're really succeeding in that area despite all of this training that they purchase. Why don't you share this video with them to help them succeed faster? Because results is better than no results. Results from one training as opposed to learning through 8 different courses and not actually getting a result, it's better. So why don't you share this video with them to help them succeed faster? And please, post in the comment section below as to what's the one thing that you're learning today that you're immediately going to put to use what you've learned. What's that one thing? Post it in the comment section below. I want to find out because maybe I know some resources or other people might know some things that will help you reach that result that you truly want in life so that you can succeed even faster. So in the next video, we're going to talk about a strategy where you can actually help you perhaps save, half an hour, or even more each day out of your life, and to really have more free time to do the things that you want so that you'll be happier and have more time freedom. Perhaps you'll grow your abundance in that way as well. So that's all in the next video. But in the meantime, here's to you creating more happiness, abundance, and freedom in your life and your community. Thanks for watching.